In 2007, the United States Senate Majority Leader quietly secured a classified earmark inside the fiscal year 2008 black budget. The architect was Senator Harry Reid of Nevada. He used standard bipartisan committee mechanics to move the money, working alongside Senators Ted Stevens and Daniel Inouye. They directed the funding to the Defense Intelligence Agency. The total appropriation was $22 million. While the contracting mechanics were routine, the subject matter wasn't. The money bought a Pentagon study of advanced aerospace threats, including warp drives, antigravity, and military encounters with unidentified aerial phenomena. The Pentagon itself never requested the money. It's a reversal of the usual government hierarchy. A legislative leader used his position to fund a physics program that the executive branch's own threat assessment infrastructure wouldn't have started. We've got to look at Nevada to see how this happened. Reid was the state's senior senator, and he maintained a decades-long relationship with the billionaire Robert Bigelow. Bigelow founded the National Institute for Discovery Science and had owned the 512-acre Skinwalker Ranch since 1996. He was a Nevada constituent with a deep interest in UAP research. The formal proposal came out of a 2007 dinner between Reid, Bigelow, and Senator Stevens. Bigelow provided the plan. Reid carried it to the floor, and Stevens signed off on the classified structure. This created a federal contract for a program called AAWSAP. The contract, numbered HHM 402-08-C-0072, was awarded in 2008 and ran through 2012. There was a procedural anomaly in the procurement. Bigelow Aerospace Advanced Space Studies was the sole bidder for the contract. This is how the system was moved. Local political ties leveraged federal contracting to pull speculative research into the government record. The AAWSAP contract produced 38 separate defense intelligence reference documents. These reports covered highly speculative physics. They included titles like Traversable Wormholes, Stargates, and Negative Energy, and papers on the manipulation of extra dimensions. Reid gave a grounded assessment of what the money bought. He later described the documents as a real grab bag, admitting that some of the output was speculative literature review rather than rigorous physics. In 2009, the program hit a roadblock. Reid, Stevens, and Inouye co-signed a formal request to elevate AAWSAP to a special access program. The Pentagon leadership pushed back. The Deputy Secretary of Defense denied the request, keeping the program at a relatively low security classification. That denial had direct consequences. It proved institutional resistance came from the executive branch, which actively limited contractor access and countered the Senate's momentum. The public didn't learn about the $22 million appropriation until December 2017. That's when the New York Times published Glowing Auras and Black Money, naming Reid as the program's sponsor. Reid had retired from the Senate in January 2017, 2 years after a severe exercise accident. Despite being out of office, he spent his final years advocating for transparency. This advocacy became a pivot point in 2019. At the time, the Pentagon was officially denying that Luis Elizondo had any role in the UAP program. A formal letter released by Reid's office confirmed Elizondo's involvement. Reid used his political standing to force the Pentagon to walk back its initial denial. Reid died on December 28, 2021. Posthumous interview material that surfaced afterward confirmed he'd spent his final decade pushing for the government to acknowledge the phenomenon. The chain of cause and effect runs through his office. Without Reid's initial appropriation, there's no AAWSAP contract, no reference documents, and no 2017 New York Times revelation.